Hello out there, all you conspiracy theorists, and welcome back to Markers and Monsters. Colin here, and I am so happy to be talking to you today about The X-Files. Yep, Friday, September 10th, 1993, 9 p.m., and The X-Files premiered. I was 10 years old, and I remember watching this. The advertising had been pretty heavy up until that point for this show, and I know myself and a number of other people at school were very excited. I was in, I believe, 4th grade when The X-Files premiered, and as soon as this hit and as soon as people saw it, this is all anybody was talking about. This was on the bus. Anytime we had to do various reports on things and, the 4th grade book reports or whatever, people would do it on ufology or the FBI or, spooky events and stuff like that. And it really took over the imagination, I know, of myself and my friends and other people I knew by storm. Not to mention, obviously, the adults at the time were very taken with it, as this show received numerous awards. It was renewed for 11 seasons, 2 feature films, spin-off series like Millennium, The Lone Gunman. So I don't think the popularity of The X-Files can ever be truly overstated. When I was a kid, I loved the spooky paranormal thing. I was right at the age when spooky stuff was really hitting home for me in a big, big way. I was kind of a, I don't know, a little bit of a scaredy cat for a long time. I've mentioned this before on the channel, but Goosebumps was really my first foray into, the world of spooky stuff. And from there, I never looked back. Love that kind of stuff. And The X-Files hit right at that perfect time for me. Has one of the all-time best iconic openings. And right from the get-go, when you hear that Mark Snow sound, when you see those weird images coming at you and ghosts and the paranormal and stuff you can't even explain happening on screen, it just sets that mood. It sets that tone and gets you hooked right away. Like I said, I know I was. The X-Files, if you don't know and have never seen it, follows FBI agents Fox Mulder, that's the tall guy there on the left in the drawing that I'm inking now, and his partner, FBI agent Dana Scully. They have a great balance, as Mulder, as the head of the X-Files division of the FBI, is always looking for the paranormal and the strange and unusual, and he is the believer. He's the guy that knows the government's covering up UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts and whatever, and that all this strange stuff is out there, while Scully is the kind of down-to-earth skeptic. She looks for the more plausible, realistic answer, as she's a scientist and a medical doctor. And they have this great push and pull with the belief, the non-belief, and then you get into Scully being a devout Catholic, and she has this belief in, God and religion that Mulder doesn't share, and you get that opposite spectrum. It's perfect character work. As portrayed by David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, they knock it out of the park, man. From day one, from the get-go, boom, they had these characters, and pretty much perfectly. Love the show. A little bit about the drawing while we're talking about this here. As you can see, I penciled in the characters as best I could. Likenesses can be a little difficult for me, so I do my best. But with fine details and stuff like this, suits and guns and the flesh tones that are going to be very important later, I decided it would be better to ink the drawing first with the Copic multiliners. These are designed so that when you put Copics on top of them, they're not going to smear the ink around. It doesn't give quite full of a line as working with a brush and ink would, but I think that this was the right way to go for these characters. Now I'm coming in now with some weird purples and odd things like that. This is going to be the first layer of shadow in the flesh tones. I really wanted these flesh tones to be done well, so I kind of wanted to put that in there. The shadows are kind of on opposite sides of the face based on the lights that those UFOs are going to be projecting from from above. So I got to put that in, and then once those deep like purples are put in, I can start to go over with like darker flesh tones and kind of lighten the areas up a bit as I work out. So that's where I decided to start with this. I wanted to make it just a simple drawing, just showcasing my two favorite FBI agents, Mulder and Scully here. And I had a good time doing this. I don't do likenesses a ton. I mean, a lot of times I try to make them a little almost caricature-y, and I guess I did that here with this, but I had a blast going with it. Again, just a simple drawing. The background is going to be really dark with the bright UFO beams there, and just have some fun with it. Scully's red hair, again, was a fun challenge, adding in the different shades of orange and stuff like that. Always remember that, like, hair is never just one color. There's always different shadows and highlights and shades and things like that in there. And if you can kind of pull that stuff out, I think it adds a great realistic look to it as well. I also had to look up what the actors' eye colors are. I don't know why. You never really notice on screen unless you're seeing a close-up of an eye, but I always like to get that stuff correct. So there we go. But yeah, back to the X-Files, man. Perfect time to be alive and be a kid and be watching this stuff. I'll always be forever grateful of the time I grew up. Now, I know most people are going to say that. If you were born in the year 2000, I bet you there's tons of stuff that you'll get nostalgic for and say, God, thank God I was a young person when X came on, or people in the 90s. Oh, thank God I was a kid when SpongeBob and Pokemon was on. And that's awesome, man. You got to embrace those things. You got to treasure those things. Just like I treasure being around when X-Files was on, being a kid and being into this. Now, a couple of my favorite episodes, let's go over them real quick. I think the first episode that really affected me in a scary way was season 1, episode 20, and that's Darkness Falls. That's when Mulder and Scully go into the Pacific Northwest woods to a logging camp where some weird green insects that thrive in the dark have come out, and they've been kidnapping, well, I don't know if kidnapping is the right word because they're bugs, but taking the various loggers, and they drain the moisture from them by cocooning them up like a spider web. You guys know how I feel about spiders. Not a fan. So this was a real freak out episode for me that I dug. I really enjoy some of the later season episodes, some of the comedy ones. The one where Mulder and Scully go undercover as a couple that are living in a weird urban development plan. I live in one of those now, so I totally get with Killer HOA is right up my alley. Some of the Lone Gunman episodes are absolutely terrific. That's Mulder's friends who were like hackers and stuff like that. Very cool stuff. I would say if you're going to start with the X-Files, start right at the beginning. Season 1, episode 1. It's all on Amazon Prime right now. Let's get those beautiful stars in there. Gotta have some stars with spaceships. And we can go in and just do a couple of white highlights real quick. Let's go ahead and get it signed up, and we'll take a look at the scan. Terrific. All right, another one that I had a blast with. I unfortunately don't have a good picture of it, but I ended up doing a white highlight around Mulder and Scully. It kind of made them pop, but I did that after I had done this drawing and scanned it and everything like that. So we'll see if I can pop a picture of it up, which I think the white highlight around the figures really helps to pop it out. But regardless, still a great little drawing. I had a blast doing it, as I always do. But you know what? Hey, that's life, right? You gotta have fun with what you're doing. You gotta enjoy it. If you guys have any favorite X-Files episodes or moments or anything like that, or even favorite TV shows that you love, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know your stories, too, in the comments below. And, well, that's it for me for today. Thanks again so much for watching, you guys. And, hey, just remember, the truth is out there. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.